Good evening. I'm glad to be here at the middle school, which is the old high school. We'll be gone very soon, hopefully. We opened the meeting previously at 6 p.m. for an executive session, so now we're moving into the open session. First item on the agenda, as always, is public input. If there's anybody in the audience that would like to speak to the school committee, want to be heard on any issue, then you can just raise your hand, identify yourself, and you will be heard. Okay, seeing nobody doing that, we now have our student representative here, Jensen Piatamita. I tried, Jason, as well as I can. But Jason's going to give us the student report.
Quarter 3 ended on January 23rd, and the midterms was during that week. And a report card was sent out, and all that was done. And also, next year's juniors and seniors course selections sheets were given out in the process. Signing up for classes began these past couple days. And Peter Pan shows began on February 8th and 9th, and the shows were almost every single one of them were sold out. The athletics, the boys hockey game versus Stoneham for the first round of the playoffs, and the winners of that game will play the winners of Speed and Flanders. And girls basketball will play Ipswich on Tuesday night at the high school. They win, they'll go on to play with the girls. And girls cheerleading placed second in Cal's yesterday and are moving on to regionals. The dance team is preparing for their spring season, and they plan to perform at Rio Grande. And the Student Council also held their first leadership workshop on February 5th from 2 to 4. And among the guests were Mr. Bernard, Mr. Superintendent, Mr. O'Brien, the art teacher, and the advisor for the Northwood Middle School's Student Council, and Ms. Katie Roy, girls cheerleading coach, Ms. McGovern, the director of youth services, Ms. Kerrigan, a science teacher at the high school, and also a freshman class advisor, and Mrs. Ryan's secondary level coordinator for school education, also helped out at the workshop. And being part of the workshop, we learned about citizenship, leadership through service, and lifelong learning. And we were all separated into separate groups, and I had the opportunity of learning from Mrs. McGovern and the job that she does. She talked to us about that problem. She let us know that problems can affect the way we do our job, and that it should. And she gave us an example of when she was working in the kitchen. The others stopped working one day, but everybody got their lunch, and nobody knew about the problem.
It was a cold lunch, but I got that one.
And she fixed the solution. She found a solution, and everybody had to know what the problem. And then she also talked to us about leadership through service, which is basically what she does every single day. She's also a manager at TJ Maxx and Marshall, and she lets us know that regardless of any situation, you have to serve people. And she gives an example of a lady that maybe had a return item that needed to be returned that was a way over the date. But instead of just saying no, she'll double check and make sure. So she was telling us that we need to reassure and be positive and help out. And also the class 2017 is hosting a dodgeball tournament on March 5th. And we have many teams signed up, and among them are the faculty team, Mr. Downs, and many other enthusiastic teachers signed up. And Emma Hoey, Shannon Brady, and Nicole Butler are representing North Reading in a statewide competition sponsored by U.S. Communicating. That's coming up. I have my student work here. And for student work, I brought this lab that I'm working on to a couple of my classmates in AP Environmental Science. And we've been given the task of designing an experiment that discusses how seeds germinate. Usually we're given a set of directions and what we need to do, but this time we were asked to find a way to see how acidity and pH level impact seed germination. And it has to do with environmental science because a lot of pollution and a lot of acidity, acid rain, this kind of stuff. So we were learning about that in terms of this lab. I have the lab for you.
Thank Thank you, Jensen. Any questions for Jensen? Me? What? Okay, he's going to review the report. And,
I'll do it.
you gave it to the wrong guy here. Congratulations to all the winter sports teams. They had an excellent year again. Particularly obviously the cheerleaders coming in second to the cows. The boys wrestling, I don't think you mentioned that, but they actually won the
Yeah, they won
sectionals.
third time in a row.
Yeah, third year in a row, they won the North sectionals.
Yep.
The hockey team is seeded second in the Division II state tournament. And I have a feeling they're going to do very well this year. The girls basketball team's in the tournament. And the boys just missed making the tournament. The track teams did well. So it's a really good winter sports season. And again, Peter Pan, we said this at the last meeting, but you brought it up again tonight. I don't know how many people saw it. It was, in my estimation, spectacular. I think the transcript got it right when they said they set the bar so high that it's going to be really hard to get over that bar next year or the years to come. But they did a tremendous job. Allison Kane, Eric Morgan just did a terrific job with that production. So, anything else? Okay. Jensen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, get on what you can. Don't interrupt me.
I'll get the report back.
All right. Thank you. Next on the agenda, we're going to skip up to the middle school presentation. I'm going to turn this over to Kathy O'Connell, the principal of the middle school. Kathy, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming. Mike Maloney's here with me too, the assistant principal. We appreciate you having us. I know we had to reschedule a few times. We had to reprint our little pamphlets, and I kept calling the kids down in the morning to remind them, okay, it's going to be tomorrow. We have snow day today, but they're all here. Parents are here, and we're grateful to have you as our audience. We changed it up a little bit this year. The year since I've been here, this is my fourth year presenting to you. We've kind of done a day in the life of a middle school child, and we changed it up a little bit this year. And we're going to start with two peer leaders, Jada Ramirez and Olivia Capuccio. Peer leaders, their advisor, parents, and associate. Peer leaders are 8th grade student leaders. How many do we have? 25? 24 8th grade students are our peer leaders. And they do student leader activities throughout the year. And I asked them to come tonight to talk with you about something new that we started this year at the middle school involving a social curriculum. And so what we've been doing with the help of several teachers, including one of our new guidance counselors, Carly Greenstein, we've been creating activities for the students to do during an extended homeroom block to work on their development, their social emotional well-being, to work on things like how they relate to their peers, how they relate to themselves and their own development. And mostly, it kind of started after we did the Wonder Book activity last year, and we had such a good experience all reading the book together and talking, in small groups about how we can be kinder to each other. These activities that we've done about 6 of them this year so far have, I think, kind of just cultivated more of an awareness of how we are a community. Every day, over 700 students and staff are here, and how we can respect and understand each other better. So the girls are going to share an activity that I'm pretty sure was created almost solely by Carly, with the help of our other guidance counselor, Sylvia Weiss. We've already done this activity with the kids. I think we did it in December, so the whole school stopped, and from 8 to 8:30, 2 teachers in a homeroom with 25 kids. Everybody did this activity. Oh, they're going down. You can't just talk like that. So the girls are going to explain the activity to you. Okay?
Hello, I'm Jada Ramirez, and this is Olivia Capuccio. We're both 8th graders at Northern Middle School, and we're also peer advisors. Like O'Connell said, this social curriculum was started by Ms. Greenstein, one of our school's psychologists, and this social curriculum is called CARE, and it has helped us learn more about ourselves and our peers to make middle school a better place to go to school and to make the kids feel more comfortable in the environment that they're in, because we all know that middle school is a tough time. Once or twice a month we extend our homeroom to about 30 minutes and work on an activity as a homeroom and also as a school. These activities are especially designed for adolescents like us, and they're around, each homeroom is around 25 students, so it's filled with a different variety of kids, and it just helps us to kind of mix and to get along with each other, and it's definitely really important in middle school to do these activities because it teaches us to be more friendly to each other, more kind, and more caring.
Depending on how you view these pictures, you can see something different. We'd like to share these pictures with you. So this, you can see that it's a view of an ocean, but if you look closely at it, you can see something different. As you can see, it's like, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a baby in the fetal position. We did these activities to show like that people can see different things, and that's okay. And here's it looks like a face, but if you like look closely, you can see it's still a liar.
It's what?
It's a face and then
Oh.
it's a liar.
Okay, yeah. Wow. Cool.
And this one is a big bird with something in its mouth. But if you look more closely at it, it's
That might be next slide.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's like you can see a man on a canoe and a fish. So there's like.
Yeah, he's in a much better position there than
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can like see the.
And if you see it, the first picture was turned upside down.
Yeah.
Now this one you see an old lady's face, but if you look more closely at it, you can see a young woman.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wow, that's weird. Oh, Jesus. Wow.
If you can, it might be hard to see, but this is the mouth of the old lady, but this is a necklace of the young lady, and that's the face of the young lady.
You almost have to
And
refocus.
that thing is the old lady's eye, but the young lady's ear. And
How do you define old lady? What age is that? Like over 100?
yeah.
Okay, all right. You read it wrong.
That's my definition. 100. That's old age.
The point of this picture is to show that it's okay, that there's no right way to see the picture, or there's no wrong way. So, looking at these pictures, we discussed it in class, and the teachers would ask us what we would see, and we discussed it, and everyone saw something different.
We both like this activity because it's a way of showing how people look at things in different perspectives, and you can't judge or have a closed mind on something. You have to be open-minded about things and always be prepared to look at something in a different way. And that's all we have for you tonight. Thank you.
Great job.
Love that.
So after we do one of those activities as a journaling activity, and so all the kids have a journal and we've been writing, the prompt or the question for this activity was to think about how different perspectives can affect conflict. And they actually, in addition to looking at the pictures, read a scenario where a little scuffle happened at a locker, and depending on who you talk to, they had an entirely different perspective as to what occurred. So we're talking, with the kids about conflict resolution. So we just feel very strongly, we'll talk about it a little bit later tonight, that having a formal social curriculum is very important, especially at the middle school level, to help kids feel more comfortable, and then when they're in that academic setting, be able to focus more and to achieve at a higher level. So that was the first part of tonight's
Could I just
presentation.
add something real quick? No,
Sure.
I won't cough this time. But just to comment about this, we're looking for ways to develop relationships with adults and kids in the building. give us opportunities to, in smaller groups, because there are 2 adults to each home, call it 2 adults to 25 kids. You know, being removed from the classroom now 5 years, I've really enjoyed over the past few years with the Wonder activity, and now with the social curriculum kid, is getting back into the classroom and interacting with kids in a smaller environment. I see every kid every day in the building, cafeteria, coming before school, after school, but I don't have the opportunity as much, and a lot of adults don't have the opportunity as much to interact and get to know the kids at that classroom level, where you can have those conversations and build relationships. And I really personally just, on my own, enjoy getting back in there and interact with kids in a smaller group. So I can say that I've developed some better relationships with kids. Just, you know, I found out that a girl had a pizza oven in the backyard. But never, you know, had the opportunity to learn that unless it wasn't from one of these activities. And it was just the type of thing where you had to ask questions of different people, and I just got involved in the activity, and it was just one of those opportunities. So it's really, the social curriculum, I feel, is very important for that relationship building piece.
We stop and we both go into 2 different homerooms, so we also, go right in and dig into the activities. And I'll add that Mrs. Caruso had offered, I've gone in to meet with the peer leaders, and the 24 kids, I think all of them, have agreed that as 8th graders in the next upcoming activities, they're going to go into 6th grade homerooms, and they're going to serve as, peer leaders in the 6th grade homerooms during the care activities. So it should be just another added level to see our older kids modeling for the younger kids. So it's been a great experience. Any questions about that part?
Questions? Explain very well.
All right, so switching gears entirely, we have a technology presentation to share with you, and I've asked Chip Osgood to come tonight. He is our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade tech ed teacher and robotics teacher. And he's brought with him 3 students, a 6th grader, Trent Lee, a 7th grader, Michelangelo Saparlis, and an 8th grader, Michael Tyrell. And they're each going to show you some work that they've been doing in Mr. Osgood's class last semester. And I think he might also show a couple of other pieces of work from students who are not here.
Yes.
So I will
Thank you so much.
let you take the floor.
Okay, so yes, I'm Chip Osgood, and this is my 4th year at North Reading. 3 years prior to this, I was teaching math and science, but now I have the honor of introducing to you a few digital natives. I hope I can do as good a job as Jada and Olivia did. I don't think I'll be quite as polished. Some of these things may come together a little bit. I haven't really actually choreographed how this is all going to go just yet. So you'll see it works enough. Yeah, right. This is the way it is.
Our technology hasn't been super helpful.
Okay, so let me just start off by, let's see, is this the mouse pad? No, let's see.
We've done our best in this building with the technology we have, and it was working prior to the start of the year.
That's funny, this screen is not showing what that screen is. Did you do something with this mic beforehand?
Has this been a problem, Kathy, down here?
I don't know that
We've had good days and
We've
bad days.
had some outages,
Yeah.
yeah. It's not the PowerPoint down below, Mike.
It's just display setting. He'll get it.
It's a little.
Okay, so in the meantime, I'll try to explain a little bit about what you're going to look at. Okay, here we go. In the first place, I've got Trent Lee here. I'm going to show a video first of what happens in our robotics class. He's featured in that as well, but then he's going to show you another bit of programming that he did on a different project. So let me just start off with the short video on in the robotics class. Sorry, it's this one right. Nope, that's on my YouTube page. Sorry, I know how to find it. It's on my YouTube channel. So here we go, and hopefully there's sound. So a little demonstration of what happens inside the robotics class. And again, robotics is really less about the mechanics than it is about the programming. That's one of the things that's kind of the thread through all of these presentations, all of these projects, is that kids are programmers.
Awesome.
explain to them what you're going to show us. And how exactly is the robot going to know what to do? This is Meg Reagan. Oh wow, okay. So it's using sensors, all right. And can you show us the program? Yeah. Okay, where? Wait a minute. Show us the program.
6th grade, right?
All right. Can you describe a little bit about this program? That's Trent.
Well, we have it start by a noise clap.
Oh, I see.
It moves forward until the white line.
Okay.
Then it stops, waits a second, and does a point turn.
So what's the significance of the different colors of those blocks there?
They're my blocks, so they're like customized blocks.
All of them are my blocks? Those are my blocks? What does that mean?
We customize blocks.
So like show me what's inside one of those things. Oh, I see. That's a point turn?
Yeah.
And what is the significance of the B and the C?
It's the
Oh, I see. Okay, good. All right, so I think we're ready to see the program. I think I get it, all right? So Trent, you're part of this group. Show us how it goes.
Good job, Trent.
So what made it do that right there? All right, how about now? What's going to happen? All right. All right, keep talking. All right, what else is happening here? Sees the wall, the ultrasonic sensor with sound, it sees it. How's that going? Oh, it's a distance sensor? Oh, I get it. Boy, nice turns you got here. How'd you do that? What did it say? Bravo. All right, let's hear it, class, for these guys in this team. So that's an example of what programming can do in the physical world. You know, the interfaces that we use for the Lego Mindstorms robotics, which is really used nationally, internationally. You know, some of these other things that you'll see in a minute are similar to that. So there's they're kind of a user interface and an environment for developing programming. We saw that Meg and Trent's program for that was rather linear. It looked rather linear. We got into some more complicated ones, but the thing that you should know is that each one of those little pieces had a lot of configuration that we didn't really go into in any detail here. And it's really the higher level thinking. It's the math, it's the science, it's the logic that they're learning without the tedium of the syntax of learning code such as Java or something like that. So that is, I think it's a pretty powerful thing. So that's the first part. The second thing I'm going to show you now, and I'm going to just show you what the assignment looks like first of all. And again, these kids that came in, they far exceeded my expectations for these assignments. You know, I would like to say that I'm their teacher, but I really feel like I'm their mentor in these classes because they are so daring when it comes to just you know, experimenting and trying something and seeing what works and what doesn't work. And that's something that, you know, we as adults probably didn't learn how to do it in the same way. Okay, so in this particular program, Scratch, it's a 2D graphics programming environment. And basically the objective of this was basically for kids to learn how to use Scratch programming in order to create an interactive project and, you know, develop a little bit of creativity and in a sense use the software to basically includes variables and interactivity that's not exactly all user controlled. Some of it is outside the user control that would trigger certain events using conditional programming, okay? And so let's see what Trent came up with for this. I would love to say I came up with this idea for this whole project, but in fact, I got the idea from Trent, because stuff that he was doing before I came up with this project. Let's see if we can find it. Trent, where is it? Is it still up and running? Oh, that's it right there. Thank you very much. Okay, good. So explain, Trent. This is Trent.
So I made this game in Scratch, and he's made variables to sort of like stop and end the game. This is the movement of the game, so I'm just moving around left and right. This is sort of jumping, and this is sort of like when you attack.
So he's got things that are, like he's got mathematical operators and conditionals, he's got wait blocks, he's got move blocks, he's got different things that are sequenced with each other. It's actually quite amazing. It's probably too hard to explain right now. People can't really see the whole interface. You created also your own sprite or character, is that true? Yeah. Okay, is that him over there pulsating in the corner, or is that a volcano? All right, can you play the game for us, Trent? Thanks. Slime's Adventure. I'll be the soundtrack, Trent. Okay, so what's happening? What are you trying to do?
Trying to attack the guy.
And did it work?
No.
All right, so did you lose the game or what?
I lost the game.
You lost the game already. You made the game too hard. The thing is, there is a counter. There are different things that can trigger, like basically you can control one character, another one may or may not be working more or less autonomously. This is what I remember about this game. And then when something happens, and on-screen interaction occurs, then it basically, that variable changes and it accumulates until you get to a certain trigger, a threshold, and it ends the game. And I thought it was amazing. Trent, you good?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay, so now my next guest here is Michelangelo, and he also created something that far exceeded anything that I could have dreamed up with for an assignment. And this is using a three-dimensional environment. You're going to notice that, I don't know if you saw the Lego mind screens on the video, but that's that interface, and then Scratch's interface, and now you're looking at Alice's interface. And you start to see some resemblance here, all right? That there's some sort of an object tree, that there's some methods, that there's some sort of a script, a place where you can write your scripts, and then there's a whole event tree, as well as a view screen to show what the environment is. One thing that kind of amazed me about this video game that he ended up creating also was that nobody could play it, unless you were actually a real NASA test pilot, because there's a total of 31 different key commands that he has created and programmed, that do a bunch of different things. So, Michelangelo, I think they get the idea, so let's just cut to the game. Can you play it for us? Thank you. Michelangelo, stop the fire.
Good afternoon, school committee. So I would like to present you my Alice project 2.4. Here, like Mr. Oscar said, I have my object tree. Here are all my commands. For example, controls for the Navy jet. I put the alternate key. Here I have all my methods. If I click on, for example, here, right control for Navy jet, I'm able to find out how revolutions needed to create a turn.
And you could modify that anyway. So if you wanted to steer like a Tomcat, you could do it one way, and then if you wanted to steer it like a Phantom, it would have been something else, right?
So here I have the troop character here, as well as a vehicle, a futuristic vehicle, and the spacecraft. be able to, the character to go to the vehicle, I click on Y, sorry, T for T. Then I click on C to enter the vehicle, and M for the spacecraft launch. After that, the wings go backwards, and I click on D to be able to move the aircraft forward. And maybe also want to rotate it or go back there. Rotate if I want, but yeah. I also have controls for my camera. Move wherever I desire. And here I have the helicopter to have it start. I click on P. And I don't know if you can see very well, but the blades are starting to rotate.
And you had to program that as well, right? To make the blades rotate. It's a subpart of an object that has to rotate about a particular center.
Good. And sorry, if you might see some writing down the side, I was, if you click on 9, for example, it brings up the controls, but
yeah, instructions, right? Basically, he's got some 3D text that's kind of floating out there in space. He makes the camera pan to that and come back, and that's his instruction set. So
to control the helicopter here, to go forward, I click on W, A, left, D, right, and S, backwards.
make it go up so we can see it.
To go upwards, I click on E, no, sorry, Q.
There it is.
So it goes upwards now, and as I said, to move forward, anywhere we decide. Yeah. So I also have controls for the Navy jet, get that out of the way. Navy jet, there's several controls. The regular keys we use for an actual like a module or anything character program. So I'm going forward with the top hero, left with the left hero, and right with the right hero. And also mention back with the back hero. And I can take off by going forward, and space is to reach out the high altitudes. And I can move as well. And also descend back to the enter. We're going to have it land. Sorry. Backwards as well. Yep. I'm safe. And this is my project I created.
So now, that's the boys' take on this project. Now I'm going to show you the girls' take on this exact same project. Let me just make sure I open up the right version. Open.
She couldn't make it tonight, we did invite her, but she was not able to make it.
This one. All right, so there's two of them. Oops, this is what I want. She had two different versions, and I'll show you the difference in a second. This one's simple enough that even I can play this game. All right. So, and you'll see, it'll become apparent the difference between the boy take on this game and the girl take on this game. Okay, once again, it's an interactive animation, a video game, if you will, where you have control over certain aspects, objects or characters, but certain interactions, on-screen interactions occur, and then there's a series of programmed conditionals that occur, as you can see down here, that trigger the next thing. So I'm going to just play the game. All right, so the instructions are, press enter to start. Once she's done reading you the instructions, you have to go back, and the object of the game is to get to the nest. All right, so it's the mama bird. All right, go into the babies. All right, so if you hit the enter key, and it's easy enough, I can go up. And then now she created this, and she brought in every single tree. I can show you in the every tree, every bush. She programmed these controls so that you're flying. She also programmed the camera so that it would track in this direction. And then this is something once again that nobody else thought of. I thought it was really good that she actually choreographed the wing flapping to Michael Jackson's bass line there. All right. So we'll leave, and you can fly around and continue the tour the whole world. The worlds can get pretty elaborate. All right, good. I think you get it. And then now the last person I want to introduce to you is Michael Terrell. Michael Terrell is working with basically 3D models in SketchUp. Again, this project here wasn't meant to be as ambitious as he ended up taking on. Let's see if I can find the instructions for that. Let's see, I think it was in my Google Drive, was it? I'm not sure, I've got too many things open at once. Give me 2 seconds, there it is, yeah. There, no, that wasn't it. There it is, good. All right, so here's the instructions, and then Michael, I think you can probably find it, right, on the, it's right there, SketchUp here. So if you'd talk us through this right here.
I was just said, Michael's in the 8th grade. Michelangelo was 7th grade, and Izzy, who's not here, but created the Mama Bird video game, is also in the 7th grade. Michael's in the 8th grade.
So this is SketchUp. Let me give you a Google Earth. Ever seen the models in Google Earth? So if you see a big building, like the University building or anything, it's made in SketchUp. So that is easy. But so for this project, we had to create a 3D model to scale of one of the following: a school, our school, our home, a dream home, or a famous building, the one that I did, a famous bridge or landmark, or a school-related project that is pre-approved. So that's kind of anything we want. So for me, I decided to do a building known as Taipei 101, which is located in Taiwan, and it's the 6th tallest building in the world. So I had to create an animation to go along with it that follows scenes. And so the first scene moves you down to look at the building as a whole. And I created each one of these. So I created everything to scale by going on the website for Taipei 101, has a website, and finding the dimensions of each floor and using that to create this model.
How many floors is it, Mike?
I believe it's 101 floors, hence the name.
Thank
But,
you.
but I'm just going to swivel around it. We also had to create an interior for the building, and I created that further out. I think if I get to within a scene, it will bring me there. And yes, here we go. So we had to create an interior, and I decided to make just one separately because to see inside the building. This is one floor of the building. And I didn't complete the interior, but I got most of it done. So to do this, I got a picture of the floor plan online, but it didn't have any dimensions, so I needed to make it to scale. So I brought it into Microsoft's program called Paint, where you can measure the amount of pixels. And because I knew the length of each floor, I could use that to figure out how many pixels on each foot, and I used that to make the restaurant. And I just finished by showing all the things here. And those tables and doors were imported as part of the assignment.
So basically, you brought a model that somebody else created within his model.
So that is SketchUp, I guess.
So, thank you very much, Mike. Great job.
Unbelievable. I'm having trouble turning off the cable on my TV.
It's pretty amazing, these guys. They do a nice job. I guess that's it. So,
Thank you, Mr.
oh, you wanted to show the other one for Kathy Dasho's film too?
Is it, I don't know if it's there.
It's on the, yeah, it's here someplace. Let me see if I can find it.
While you're looking for that, do you have any questions for the students on their project?
Amazing. Neat.
I'm floored.
It's
That
really
was-
impressive.
You guys are
Really impressive. And it's so
Amazing.
different than when we went to school, obviously.
Are the different things, the SketchUp and the whatever, the programs you were using, Alice and something like that, is that kind of similar to the code? Remember they
We're
were
talking
showing
about,
us?
now we
Yeah.
know more about it, but yeah.
Is it similar to that?
Creating code, I mean, I think that's.
Writing code?
Writing
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you know, this whole, drag and drop block programming,
Yeah.
all right, it's what it is it's the higher level logic and of real programming without the semicolons and the right brackets and the curly brackets and the backslashes that would go into, you know, writing, using a conventional language like Java or Python or something like that. And so, you know, it was developed by Carnegie Mellon. A lot of these programs were developed by either Carnegie Mellon or, I guess, MIT for their undergraduate students, but we're using them and for, you know, and for K through 12 grades. So the idea is to try to get kids at a younger age programming without, you know, I mean, because kids obviously, you know, the colons, semicolons, that sort of thing. That would only teach you to hate programming, you know. So
what that does is when I had my first programming in college, and we did little IBM cards, you know, punch cards thing, but you marked them with a number pencil, and then you sent them away to the service bureau, and you would, at the school. And then a week later, you would get back a little report on those that said there's an error on card 10. Redo it. And you would redo it and send it back, and then they tell you there was an error on card 25.
A week later, yeah.
A week later. Meanwhile, you kind of lost interest in the process.
Exactly. This is another project that we did with Model Metrics, also SketchUp. This is just one chapter actually it's 4 chapters of one book. We did 4 books this year, and each one of these things has a different, you know, I don't know, focus, I think, in terms of how to build different models. In some cases, you're arraying things. In other cases, you're using different kinds of textures. In other cases, you're scaling things proportionally about various points. And, you know, if you've ever used like anything like AutoCAD or MicroStation or something like that, a lot of the features are very similar in terms of, you know, you're working with X, Y, and Z, and you're scaling distances and directions and that sort of thing. But the one thing about SketchUp is that it also has a lot of much more user friendliness in terms of if you want to just drag things, you can do that too. You can't do that in some of these other engineering programs. So this is another video that Ms. Dasho made of a bunch of projects. You can kind of get a little bit of a tour of what it looks like. So once again, each one of these things, like this one here, it's all about concentric, making concentric circles. This was started out as something two-dimensional and then it arrayed out. Similarly, all those windows arrayed. And it's for productivity. You can move things very quickly. There's Ms. Caruso hiding inside there. All right.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That concludes our presentation. I know there are two best questions, but before we complete, were there any other?
I have a question that's a little bit related. You guys thinking much, all of you that presented tonight, you did a great job, by the way, excellent job. It's fascinating. Have you thought much about going up to the new school next year? What are your thoughts about it? You guys are going to be going to the high school, obviously, right?
I'm not. I'm going to private school.
Oh, okay.
We're losing you, Olivia?
And the rest of you guys are going up to the middle school next year. What do you think of it, Fran? You don't know? Have they been up there, Kathy? Have they gone
No,
they
no, I haven't been.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't been.
All right, I was just curious.
Exciting. Well, the size of the robotics lab and the test lab, they are the old cafeteria.
Yeah.
So they're going to be huge hubs of technology where the kids can, so right now they're pretty cramped, and
Yeah.
you saw the obstacle course for the robots, it's
Yeah.
pretty tight, and they're making do, and you're doing a great job with what we have, but when they have this new state-of-the-art facility, it's going to be awesome to see what they're going to produce, and
That's
we'll
good.
bring it back next year, we'll show you.
It'll be exciting for them.
You don't want to go up and look at the robotics lab today.
Yeah.
Mr. Simon says some pictures.
Yeah.
Better than I've seen it, it's coming along.
Well, if there's no further questions, John, do you have any?
No, just I want to thank Mr. O'Connell, Mr. Maloney, and teachers and students. It was a wonderful presentation, very informative. Thank you for coming out.
Great
tonight.
job. Thank you very much. Thank you.
They did a great job. Perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hi, we're going to move right along. Jump back and ask some updates on school building
Sure, so, in the beginning of my report was written, last week, so there's standard changes on daily basis.
Well, sorry.
I'll just.
Really?
I do want to update you on a few things. As progress continues on the construction of the middle school. The window installation is substantially complete. The exterior brickwork I've reported to you in the last 2 meetings have been progressing. It was unfortunately slowed a bit due to the snow that we had. But that work is ongoing. There is still a desire to have the building weather-tight in approximately 3 weeks. The interior work at the middle school has begun. Despite the weather and despite the delay on the full installation of the roofing, there is a substantial amount of work going on with the interior framing of walls. Rough electrical, plumbing, and heating, ventilation, and air conditioning work is also ongoing. The sprinkler installation and the ductwork is substantially complete at this time. The audiovisual consultant to the installer were on site at the high school on February 16th, that's just a week ago today, to finish the shot list of the commissioning of the related equipment in the gymnasium. So we're hoping for a report on the finalization of the commissioning of that equipment so that we can undergo a training of the use of the equipment. And the work to complete the roof at the middle school is ongoing. Again, my report was written on February 18th. Jeff White, our project manager, indicated to me on that day that they were looking at about 4 days to complete the project. So we got a little bit of snow over the weekend. There was some snow removal going on today. I was up at the high school and saw that happening, but I have to probably get a little bit more information tomorrow at secondary school building committee meeting. I have to think that work is nearing completion.
Thank you, John. Janine, anything you want to add?
No?
Cliff? I think Cliff was at the construction meeting last Thursday. I was not.
Yeah, the big problem in the roof is that you have to have 20 degrees to be able to glue the roof down. And you also have to have no snow. And we haven't been able to get enough days in a row to actually accomplish that. But if they've got the snow off today, then it looks like this week could possibly get a roof on Charlie.
I heard yesterday our weather report that it was the first day in the month of February. It was about 32.
About 30.
Yeah, that's certainly a fact.
I think it was the first day we approached the normal temperature
Yes.
for the entire
The
month.
way we should be this time of year.
I know that they're in a real push to get it on. In the meantime, as you said, there's plumbing and HVAC work that's ongoing out beyond where the new laboratories are. All of the masonry around those laboratories and stuff. So they're working on that. And even out in the area where there's just about enough heat to keep ice off the floor and no roof, they're still putting up the steel stud against the block walls to be able to put drywall up on that. The second floor of the sixth grade area is well along, and they've got a lot of board up on the walls there. That's really progressed. When you put in context what that means, when you put the board up, that means all of the utilities are in and inspected. And so that's a major, they actually had tapes on that board, which gives you an idea of how far. And that's looking good. The first floor will be right after that. So that piece is being done and that kind of be put aside so that the rest of it, they can move those crews into the rest of it. they move right along. But again, they're moving it in just like they would have perhaps with plumbing and heating and ventilation.
We had the benefit of 2 very good years of weather leading up to the last 5 weeks. In the last 5 weeks, it's kind of got up for us a little bit. We have to deal with it like everybody else is having to deal with it. So we're not sure yet how it's going to affect the schedule or if it's going to impact the schedule, but as soon as we do know that, we'll let everybody know. And I just remind everybody that we do have a secondary school building committee meeting tomorrow night, Tuesday, at 5:30 p.m. in the Distance Learning Lab at the high school. Okay? All right, John, thank you. Cliff, thank you very much. Next, we have a proposal from the middle school principal, Kathy O'Connell, regarding academic leveling at the middle school. Kathy?
Thank you. So I wanted to take an opportunity just to update you on some changes that have been ongoing this year at the middle school and some that are planned for next year. About 2 years ago, and some of this I presented to you at my school improvement plan meeting in June of 14, but I just thought it would be appropriate to give you an update. About 2 years ago, knowing that we were going to be moving into a state-of-the-art brand new facility, I put out an invitation to parents and teachers and administrators, Michael has been with me, to form a team of interested stakeholders to take a look at best practices at the middle school level. What are other middle schools doing in our area that are high achieving, and what can we do to improve our, the overall experience for our kids, not just academic achievement, but the overall experience of the kids at North Reading Middle School. Knowing that we're moving into this amazing new building, I thought it would be a great opportunity to take the momentum of moving into the facility to really look at how we function. And I think it's my job as a principal to have an ongoing desire to always improve and to always look outside of our school to see what other schools are doing and to see what fits with our mission and our goals for our school. So in March of this 2015, will be 2 years that this group has been meeting. And really our mission, our goal was to better meet the needs of our students. And the needs of our students are changing every day. When we look at Trent Lee, he's probably 11 years old, a little 6th grader. His needs are different than the needs of, say, I have an 18-year-old son. When he was in the 6th grade, the needs are very different. They're changing. So again, I think it's our job to make sure that we're always adjusting what we're giving our students based on their needs. So we formed this group, we grounded our work in 2 best practices from middle school education, breaking ranks in the middle, and also a book that Kathy Willis brought to the district, Strategy in Action. And I should say Kathy Willis was very much a big part and supporter of the work that we were doing and encouraged me to pursue this process. So over the last 3 years, we visited 4 middle schools in the area: Parker Middle School in Reading, Pollard Middle School in Needham, which may seem, an odd choice, but that's one of our DART districts, and so it's according to the DESE, Needham, the Pollard Middle School is a school that we have similar demographics to, and they are higher achieving than us. So we took a ride, a bunch of us went out there, and we spent the whole day there and talked with the teachers and the administrators. We also went to Bolton Richmond Middle School in Danvers and McCall Middle School in Winchester. And we site visits, pretty formal site visits, and spent a good amount of time at each school. I also put together a survey and then got feedback from over 30 middle schools in the area around their practices, particularly around how they group students for instruction. So we created a plan comprised of 6 recommendations. Those 6 recommendations were in my school improvement plan that I presented in 2014. 3 of the changes have been implemented this year, and I just wanted to give you an update on how those are going. And 3 are scheduled for the fall of 2015-16. And these are the recommendations. 1 is to implement a social curriculum. And we're doing that this year, and I think it's been very successful. You heard Mike Maloney speak about it, you heard the girls speak about it. It's not perfect. We didn't purchase a curriculum. We certainly looked at a lot of curriculums and spoke to schools. We felt at the time we wanted to try to create our own based on the needs that our children had. And, at some point, if we decide to buy something, we might, but so far, we're working as a group to come up with these activities. And I think it's been very successful. We've already surveyed the kids at the beginning of the year about how comfortable they are at school and if they feel that there's an adult they can go to talk to. And we're going to survey them again at the end of the year to see if there's any change in how they're feeling. Because again, their social emotional well-being is so important and so tied to their academic achievement. If they don't feel safe and they don't feel comfortable, it's definitely going to affect the way they learn. We also were able to increase common planning time for teachers. Prior to this year, grade level alike subject teachers did not have common planning time. So I taught 6th grade social studies and my Maloney taught 6th grade social studies. We never had a time to formally plan together, and that was very difficult for teachers, especially with the new increased demands like the DDMs and common assessments and all the changes with the Common Core. We were able to give teachers at least one, and in some cases, if they're a little creative, 2 common planning times in a 6-day cycle. So that's, at least an hour in a 6-day cycle that they get uninterrupted time to plan together. And again, we intend to survey the teachers at the end of the year to see how they're using that time, to see, what we can do to help better, work with them to make that time the most effective as possible. And then the third one was to change the general arts schedule to allow more students to participate. And again, we did that this year. We also changed the general arts schedule so that we're better accommodate the green gold days of the high school. We're going to be sharing facilities at the high school, as you well know. And general arts in the middle school are things like physical education and health, art, music, robotics, tech ed. And to offer them every other day it's more compatible to the green gold schedule that the high school has. If we get to that point where we need to share the TV studio, or we need to, share, we shouldn't have to share art spaces, but there may be a time when we need to share the Performing Arts Center. This will allow for, I think, a little bit more alignment. But primarily, the reason we made the change was to allow more students to fully participate in the general arts offerings. And overall, we feel that it's been a very good change. It changed the schedule from being every day for 1 quarter to every other day for 1 semester. So those are the 3 changes that have been in place this year. I'm not sure if there are any questions, but it's important to remind you of those.
Quick question, Kathy, and just to brief answer, but when you looked at the other middle schools and you're trying to gain some information from, how do you measure achievement? What's the standard that you use to measure the achievement?
I was looking at the dark districts primarily at the MCAS scores. And
so it was primarily MCAS?
For academic achievement, that's what I was looking at. So we're a level 2 school, we've got room to grow. And when you look at our dark districts, if there are maybe 8 or 9 of them, and many of the ELA math and science, we're like 7. They're all high achieving districts, but there's room to grow. So from an academic perspective, that's what I was looking at.
And so how, they all had social curriculum programs that they had implemented?
Not all of them, but many of them had advisory. Right. We purposefully chose not to call this advisory because there had been an advisory program in the middle school years ago, and for whatever reason, before I became principal, it stopped, and we changed, the language to the social curriculum.
So did you perceive that the middle school had an issue with social issues prior to implementing the social?
Based on information from our guidance counselors and teachers' concerns, and there's always. We are obliged to have a bullying curriculum, so a lot of these activities kind of cover our education around anti-bullying. But yeah, I think definitely there is a need to better meet.
So create a better environment?
Yeah.
They don't want to.
Yeah.
All right, I was just curious. Thank you.
Sure. So the changes for next year are we don't know that we'll have the funding to do this, but I did mention it last year, and I believe Mel was not here tonight, but I believe he made a comment about recommendation 4 that we should have a full year of foreign language in the 7th grade. All of the schools that we visited had a full year of foreign language in the 7th grade. Obviously, I think the school committee would approve that if it weren't for the financial implications of, require us to hire 2 more teachers. So it is something that I put in as a budget request. I'm not sure that it's going to happen. I'll keep putting it in. I know that, you know, there are needs in other schools, but I do think it's something that our kids will benefit from. Right now, they get a full year of foreign language in grade 8, and they have an exploratory grade 7 foreign language experience.
Mrs. O'Connell, just one quick question. Is that an elective base? If this happens, would that be an elective that students sign up for it?
No, that's a great question. If we were to get full year of foreign language in 7th grade, it would become a 5th class, just like the 8th grade has 5 classes, 1 being foreign language. 6th and 7th grade, they only have 4 of the content, you know, math, science, English, language arts, and social studies. So it wouldn't be an elective, it would be a 5th class. The other recommendation, we've actually started the groundwork for this, is to implement the Massachusetts tiered system of support. It's an RTI model that is being, it is a mandate by the DESE, but I think it's a very positive thing. That, again, when we looked at other middle schools, we don't have currently a formal approach when kids begin to show signs of needing an intervention, whether it is academically or social emotionally. You know, we obviously work very hard as a team to meet their needs, but this is, the MTSS is a formal kind of protocol that you would follow, and you would have specified intervention blocks where you would work to better meet the needs of kids academically and again, social emotionally. And if you're interested, all you have to do is look at the DESE website on MTSS, and there's more information than there are hours in a day. But we are beginning to implement that and kind of look at what that might look like at North Reading Middle School. And the final recommendation, which is primarily why I'm here tonight, is that when we looked at all of the other middle schools, and especially when we surveyed the 30 middle schools, I saw something pretty glaring that we are doing that other middle schools are not doing. I wasn't surprised by it because being a middle school educator for almost 17 years, and really being a passionate middle school person, I knew that that we were grouping students for instruction in a very traditional kind of junior high model. But I wanted to talk to other middle schools. I wanted to see, you know, what other middle schools, how they were grouping students for instruction. And what I realized, and you know, again, didn't shock me, was that most middle schools do not group students by academic ability for subjects like English language arts, social studies, and science. They do for math, because math can often offer, as we are currently offering, accelerated pathways, but not for ELA, social studies, and science. So grouping students by ability, we call it leveling here, it's not a best practice for middle school age children. And right now, what we've been doing, I think, forever, is grouping students at the beginning of the 7th grade into levels based on their academic ability for all subjects with the exception of the general arts. So they're placed into tracks, basically based on their academic ability, the perceived academic ability at the beginning of 7th grade. And so specifically, just to give you some names, high-achieving middle schools in our area, including many in our dark districts, have limited academic ability grouping. They only level for math, and those are Reading, both of the middle schools in Reading. All of the, I think there are 3 middle schools in Andover, Chelmsford, Linfield, Masco, Needham, Wayland. Those are just a few, and I have the list of all of the 30 who participated in the survey. Only group by academic ability for math. And that is what I'm proposing, and that we start next year with our 7th graders by only grouping them by academic ability for math. I believe, and there's enough research, a lot of research, that says students will perform at a higher level if they're grouped by mixed abilities in those other subjects. So again, when the 3 elementary schools feed into us, and you know, we receive them with open arms, we do not group them by academic ability. We take them from the 3 elementary schools and we do our best to mix up so we don't have one group, you know, one class of all bad students and one class of all good students. We mix them up and they do just fine. And the teachers do just fine, and everything is fine. It's just at the end of 6th grade, it's been past practice to group them by academic ability for 7th and 8th grade. So what I'm proposing is that we wouldn't do that for our current sixth graders. So in the fall of 2015, our, Trent Lee's group would only be grouped by academic ability for math. And that would allow for a phased implementation of this change in leveling so that by the, that would be the last, 8th grade of next year would be the last group to be grouped by academic ability. I believe in my heart 100% that it is the right thing for students, that there are lots of reasons, including that they, research shows that they will achieve at higher levels, but also from a social emotional perspective, they are given the opportunity to achieve at, they're not inhibited by being told that you're in a level 2 class or you're in the bottom class. So when a child is told that, they often will, feel as though they're not able to achieve at a higher level. So it is something that I think will benefit the middle school as a whole. The staff is aware of the change. They know from the work that the NRMS 2.0 team has been doing that this is a change that will be coming. They were informed in the spring of 2014, so we've been talking about it a lot at faculty meetings. We've been talking about at great length at my leadership team meetings. My school council is aware and supportive of the change. And parents of the current sixth graders will be notified by mail in the end of February. Many parents would not be aware of this change if they didn't have a student that had already gone through the middle school, because it isn't something that, that obviously we talk a great deal about. It's just that students typically get a letter that says these are your levels for 7th grade. That's what has been past practice. So I'm assuming there might be a few questions.
What's the feedback from the council and our other parents that are aware of this change?
Parents on the NRMS 2.0 team, I have 3 parents. Yeah. They are supportive. The school council they are supportive. Primarily it was work done with the school council last year. This current year we haven't focused as much on it, but they are supportive. I haven't, I've talked to a handful of parents, but I haven't gotten a huge consensus from parents as to how they might feel.
John, this is happening now, obviously. This is
So Kathy, I was brought into this discussion last spring a little bit when Kathy was interested and was at a point where she wanted to survey communities. And I, as the high school principal at the time, I had access to a large database of secondary school administrators, so we were able to disseminate the survey. I think Kathy was very pleased, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm just going to echo some of what you said, was pleased, I think, to find validation in a lot of what her committee had believed to be true. From my standpoint, I first of all, I endorse this change. And since becoming the superintendent in the fall, Kathy has briefed me on it. We've met twice and talked about this presentation tonight and just the direction that she wanted to move the middle school. And I think for me, I do, number one, I applaud the work of the committee and their thinking, because what their effort here is really about how do we make students feel most comfortable in their school environment and thus translate that into academic achievement. And we've done things like this at the high school. When I was principal, we created open access to advanced placement level classes. We do not level students in the same way that they're leveling at the middle school presently. I think there are positive byproducts of that. I think we allow our students with their parents' input and certainly the school to stretch themselves, and I think that's a good thing. And I think I would be disappointed. I would be surprised if we did not see positive results from a change like this.
Kathy, I'm really pleased you took the initiative to go out and look at some high achieving schools and see what they're doing and see if, I mean, it's not always possible that we can emulate that. There are different, variables that come into play. Budget being one of them, obviously. I'm glad that you did that. It's, obviously you're taking some small steps to try to start implementing some of those ideas that you receive from the other schools. Janine, did you have any questions?
I was just wondering, have you talked to the teachers about it, and are they on board? Or?
Yeah, the teachers know about it, and some of them are a little apprehensive, but there's like the 6th grade teachers will say, we do this every day. This is what we do every single day. And, teachers, this is a change, so change is challenging. So they're well aware of it. We're working on some professional development for them to help them. It's, in a sense, it will make their planning for instruction a little bit more difficult, I guess I will say, because there'll be a variety of learning needs in each classroom. But I think what they'll find is that it's amazing. I mean, I taught for 10 years, and it's called heterogeneously grouping. So you're grouping kids by mixed abilities, and I taught in that environment for 10 years. And there is so much benefit from peers working with one another who are coming from things, again, it's like that perspective activity. It's amazing what that can do to a child's own learning and how they, how they feel that they can achieve. And I think the teachers have, they're a little worried because it's a change, but I think we'll work together as a community and learn from the 6th grade teachers how, differentiated instruction, taking your lesson and just making sure that you can meet the needs of all the kids who are in front of you. And I think all teachers should be doing that every day.
So the leveling, Kathy, was based strictly on 6th grade performance? That's how they established the leveling?
The leveling was based on what I would say was primarily some subjective observations of 6th grade performance. Grades were certainly part of that, and that's not always subjective, but a lot of other kind of subjective, I'm not sure how they'll do, let's, maybe put them in a level 2.
But I remember years ago, they used to go right from elementary school. So you transition from elementary school to junior high school, middle school, and that's when they would level at that point. So this was strictly 6th grade performance.
I would like to say, we can certainly look at the data historically and moving forward, but I would like to predict that the number of children taking AP courses in a few years will increase because we're not tracking kids into the lower level. We're saying, you can take this class and absolutely do the best you can. But then as they get into high school, they won't have that mentality of, I'm a level 2 kid, I can't take an AP class.
That's my follow-up question. How might that affect, how kids transition to high school moving forward?
I don't
like, how will that work?
I don't see that it will have an effect on changing the way that kids are transitioned. Right now, 8th grade teachers make recommendations primarily for honors or academic classes. Mr. Bernard can speak to that too, but I know that the high school has the challenge by choice, so if a teacher recommends academic, but the parents and the student really want to do honors, I believe they can go ahead and do that. So I don't think that there will be any change. The teachers will still make the recommendations, and that's information to help the parents make the right choice for their child, but I don't think there'll be any effect other than I predict more children will want to take more rigorous courses at the high school because they will have taken them here.
Cliff, did you have something?
Yeah, so in reality, this really only affects the 7th and 8th grade. Because we don't do it in 6th, and we don't do it in the high school. And we have 2 years that we do something different.
And I think, I predict that it's going to increase student achievement and it's going to increase the overall well-being of the students.
Those 6 initiatives, Kathy, and I know 3 are being implemented this year and 3 next year. Were there other things in addition to that that we needed to take a look at to see if we could get to a...
There were so many things that when you go to the different middle schools and see, and some of them, like you said, are limited by primarily money. When we went to Pollard Middle School, they must have had 20 general arts. They had so many different offerings for general arts that it's just not realistic for us.
Foreign language is another area where we're just deficient.
In multiple languages too, not just, the French and Spanish, they had other languages, Italian. I mean, Danvers, their general arts offerings were immense, which allows them to have, it makes it easy for all those other things, on the planning time, it just frees up the whole, so it's that ripple effect type of thing.
When you see someone like the students next showing their technology work, I mean, that's amazing application of what they're learning. It's bringing in English, science, social studies, math, and they're applying it. And so those classes are terrific, and I'm really proud of our robotics and tech ed classrooms. And we look forward to inviting schools to our new school to say, hey, look, this is what we're doing in North Reading Middle School. We haven't been able to do that. We feel pretty confident that we'll be able to do that next year.
Good, Kat, I'd like to take the initiative. We can reap its rewards.
I think it's a good,
Yeah.
And
Jim?
Oh, go ahead.
I just want to make a comment too. I think this is an enormous step in the right direction to create a much more inclusive culture at the school. I think from just academic opportunities for academic advancement, modeling on other students, this kind of heterogeneous school is much better for getting everybody in the game, for including all students with disabilities, students of all different abilities. Big improvement. I think that'll have just a real great impact on the district, from my perspective.
Thank you very much. Mike, thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Good job. Very interesting.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, we've got some routine matters, including the minutes from the February 10th, 2015 meeting. That's for a motion to approve. Motion by Janine, second. Second by Cliff. Any further discussion regarding approval of the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Oh, you got something?
On page 5.
Page 5.
There was a note about the NORCAM meeting on the 19th. And it wasn't.
Okay, so meeting next Thursday, which would be February 26th. 26th? Okay, so that should be February 26th, that meeting was scheduled for.
Was it canceled? The 19th was it canceled?
Was it canceled or was it just not scheduled correctly? I don't know.
I think the 19th was
and it
listed.
wasn't there, and it was a cold night. So it might have been canceled. It was canceled, and this is right.
Yeah,
So it
I
was
think,
scheduled.
I'll double check my notes,
All
but
right.
I believe it was listed as
Yeah.
being on the 19th.
Okay, so Janine's right. If it was canceled, then the 19th would stay, and we could approve it as such.
And if not, I'll do it.
Yeah, it's the way it should be. Yeah. Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, none. Motion carries by a vote of 3-0. Mike, no budget update tonight? Correct. Okay. Staffing, nothing, John?
That's correct.
Bids and donations, we have a couple. John, do you want to present? Or do you want me to do it? Okay. We have one from Braga Landscaping. Mr. Braga is a landscaper here at North Reading, a North Reading High School graduate. His son graduated a couple of years ago from North Reading High School, and he's made a $400 donation to benefit the North Reading High School boys basketball team. So I think, again, I'd ask for a motion to accept that donation with gratitude. Move to Mr. Braga.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Cliff and a second by Janine. No further discussion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries by a vote of 3-0. Thank you to Mr. Braga. And then we have the J. Turner Hood Elementary School Parents Association. Am I reading this with you correctly?
I called Mr. McKay to confirm.
I just want to make sure before I ask.
I'm part of that, it's part of that.
It is a confirmed.
Well, we thank you.
Very much so.
And that Connor is in the right place.
Okay.
I would like to make a motion to accept with much gratitude the donation.
Well, let's say the amount, Janine. You didn't give me a chance.
$21,283. That is very impressive.
$21,283 for the upgrading and repairing of smart boards at the Hood School. So we have a motion by Janine and a second by Cliff. And again, parents associations continue to really come through and help support those things that we can't pay for. So again, a lot of gratitude moving to the Hood School Parents Association. Here we go, further discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries by a vote of 3-0.
Mr. Chairman, you may all just want to know, when I did seriously call this the day, I asked him what was the extent. He told me that every classroom in the school will now have smart technology.
Really?
Functioning, up and functioning, running, and
Yeah, because some of this was repair money.
yes,
Right? So
yes.
every classroom has smart technology.
Excellent. Next on the agenda, subcommittee reports. There have not been any subcommittee meetings since February 10th. We do have some scheduled. The athletic subcommittee is scheduled for tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. And that's in the superintendent's office. The secondary school building committee will meet tomorrow night at 5:30 p.m. at the distance learning lab at the high school. NORCAM Board of Directors meeting is February 26th at 7 p.m. The Finance Planning Team will meet on March 6th at 8:15 a.m. Anything from the administrative report?
Yes, I do have a hand up, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of things I wanted to update you on. So I think it was, I think you all, because you were intimately involved with the high school's accreditation site visit last March, it was just about that time, maybe just short of a year ago, where the New England, I believe Superintendent Willis had briefed you on some changes that were hoped for with the accreditation process for high schools under the direction of the New England Association of Schools and Colleges. So I had received a communication last week from a group of superintendents and principals, and when I was a high school principal, I actually was on the visiting committee that met with U.S. representatives about how, because we had just freshly gone through the process, I thought I could bring a good kind of a recent perspective to that process, because I did feel that there were some areas where maybe the process could be improved for schools. And so that work has been going on now for about a year. And I thought it was important to just bring you up to speed that the work is continuing. It's kind of heating up, if you will, this spring and summer. There are some focus groups being formed. The overarching goal of the work that's being done, looking at the accreditation process, which I think is a very good process and a very necessary process, is really to just, I think there has been a disconnect between what the local association is doing and what the state and federal mandates are. So there's a desire to streamline the three, state, federal government, and regional accrediting board to work together more closely on, and thus avoiding some duplication of efforts or some gaps. So that work is continuing, and I thought it was just important for you all to know that I am involved in the work that's going on. There are a number of superintendents and high school principals from this area that have been very reasonably vocal about changes that they think need to be made. Quite honestly, with the threat that perhaps if NEAS does not respond favorably, that the organization may see schools pull out of membership. There's great concern around the cost of the process. I think when all was said and done, our process here was probably close to $30,000, and that's a huge expense for us to take.
These days, it's a huge expense. It's a tremendous commitment of staff and resources and time.
Well, that's a very good second point, is we lose an awful lot of necessary professional development time dedicated to the self-study, which really is about a 2.5 year process. So I really just wanted to alert you to the fact that the work is ongoing, and I do anticipate, I think NEAS is responding favorably to the wishes of the superintendents and principals, and I would expect that some good changes are coming up. I'll keep you updated.
Any further comments or questions? And next on the agenda, we have our...
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just real quick, sorry. More for, I don't think we're live tonight, unfortunately, but for your information, that last Thursday, the Commissioner of Education for the state issued a memo allowing for school districts to adopt an extension in the testing period this spring as a result of all the canceled days of school that districts have faced. So I'm going to be discussing that memo with the Administrative Council on Thursday at our regularly scheduled meeting. And I think it's fair to say that we're going to look very seriously at taking advantage of the extended opportunity to prepare our students for the upcoming MCAS and PARC tests. And then lastly, I just wanted to remind you all, I've spoken about this with you before, but I just wanted to remind you it's coming up between now and our next meeting that the Community Impact Team's sponsored program of The Secret Life of a Massachusetts Teen is going to take place on Wednesday, March 4th at 7 p.m. That's at the Distance Learning Lab at the high school. While pre-registration was suggested, and by the way, there were 328 registrants as of today, so we're very excited about the response rate to that program. You do not need to register. You certainly can go without registering.
So will you move it to the auditorium then?
I'm sorry, it's in the auditorium, Gene. Thank you.
I apologize. Thank you.
Yeah, we're not going to squeeze them all into the DL. Thank you.
The auditorium with
at the high school.
Oh, sorry.
Performing arts center, yes, not the business center. So we're very excited about that response, and we're very hopeful that this speaker is as engaging as it appears to be when we've had one conference call. So that's coming up next week.
Thank you, John.
That's all. Thank you.
Anybody have anything else? No? Go ahead.
Has the taste of Reading?
The Taste of Metro North is Wednesday at 5:30 at Reading High School. And I think it's fair to say, we'll be hosting that event here at our middle high school next year. That's the plan.
Oh, really?
On Main Street, yes.
On Main Street, excellent.
We've got a little bit of a conflict. We're in tournament season right now, so we've got some conflicts going on. There's a hockey game at 5:10, but I think some people were a little disappointed that we're not going to be able to be in two places at once. But the event is taking place at 5:30 this Wednesday.
Okay.
Okay.
I have tickets too.
Well, yes.
Make sure she paid it. If there's nothing else, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn. So moved. Motion by Cliff, second by Janine. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.